Let's look at Proverbs chapter 30. So it says the meaning of the names of this verse. So this is by Daniel Seagraves. It's a book of Proverbs commentary. He says the identity of the writer, verse 1. It's Agar. And just so you know, it means the collector of wise sayings. Jakah means the obedient one. Ithiel means with me is God. And Yukal means I shall be completed. Ancient Jewish traditions identify Agar as Solomon and Jakah as David. And it is not uncommon for persons in Scripture to be called by more than one name, each name having significance. For example, 2 Samuel 12:25, Solomon is called Jedediah, which means beloved of the Lord. Regardless of the human author of this verse, it contains an internal witness to the inspiration of the passage. It is a prophecy. And then verse 2 and 3, the writer claims to have less than even human understanding. The word brutish here literally means ignorant. He declares he has never learned wisdom, nor does he have the knowledge of the holy. Perhaps Agar genuinely expressed his human limitations apart from divine inspiration. But the following verses, especially verses 4 and 6, suggest that possibly he was using irony, a figure of speech used frequently in Scripture. That is, he may have been writing to someone who professed great wisdom and understanding, and his self-effacing comments may have been designed to reveal how he looked in the eyes of the self-proclaimed wise man. At any rate, the wisdom revealed throughout the chapter suggests that he was not an ignorant person at this point. And of course, the passage is divinely inspired. Verse 4. This verse has been the subject of much speculation. Some interpreters believe the understood answer to each question is God. Some, but not all. English translations that indicate deity by capitalizing pronouns capitalize the words his and son in the statement. What is his name and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Many who thus interpret the verse believe it is divine proof or definite proof that there is more than one person in the Godhead, and that the second person, called the Son, pre-existed Bethlehem. But not at all interpreters agree with this, not even Trinitarians. Nothing can be proved by the capitalization of pronouns. It is simply a tool of the translator with no support from the Hebrew text. It seems better to understand the verse as referring to human limitations. The context suggests this. Interpretation, particularly verse 2, 3, 5, and 6, according to this view, the verse means who, or like what man, hath ascended into heaven or descended, and who, meaning what man, hath gathered the wind in his fists. Who, what man, hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? So it's referring to what human can do, the things that only God can do. If the reader knows of any man who has done this, he should supply his name, and his son's name as well. The answer, of course, is that no one has done or could do these things. A verse that reveals the weakness and ignorance of humans when compared to God, especially those people who profess great wisdom, as suggested by the ironic disclaimers of verses 2 and 3. If the verse is referring to God, the final question seems pointless. What is his name and what is his son's name, if you can tell? If it were obvious that the questions were to be answered God, the reader could certainly have supplied his name, for it was revealed long before this time, Exodus 6:3. But this verse presumes that the reader cannot supply the name, if you can tell. At any rate, the verse cannot be reconciled to Trinitarian doctrine, for under the theory of the question, what is his name, what is his son's name, would refer to God the Father and God the Son. The grammar of the verse would then demand that each preceding question be answered with God the Father. None of the questions described in the first four questions could be attributed to the Son. All would have to be attributed to the Father. But Trinitarianism does not teach that God the Father ascended up into heaven or descended. That is the role of God the Son. For example, the Bible Knowledge Commentary declares this phrase that it reminds one Christ the Son of God. Jesus said, no man has ascended into heaven, but he who came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. John 3:13. It is also possible to understand this verse to be speaking of God without accepting a Trinitarian explanation. If we understand that any Old Testament reference to the Son is prophetic, We can view the reference to the Son in this verse in the same way. For example, David Bernard said that in this verse, he was looking to the future, trying to see by what name God would reveal himself when he would appear as the Son. The scriptures teach that the Son was begotten at a specific point in time, Psalm 2:7. In Galatians 4:4, when the fullness of time would come, God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law. If the Son referred to a second divine person, then that person would be made of a woman. But Jesus Christ is not a second person. He was God, deity, manifest in the flesh, humanity, 1 Timothy 3:16. The deity pre-existed Bethlehem, but the humanity did not. We could never speak of the Son of God without some reference to the recognition of the humanity, for the Son was made of a woman. In the Old Testament, the Son was still in the future. I will, it's future tense, be to him a father, and he will be to me a son. Hebrews 1:5. The messianic prophecy of Isaiah indicated that the name of the Son would not be revealed until he was in his mother's womb. Isaiah 49:1. Thus, in Proverbs 34 refers to God. The question is, what is his name? Would seem pointless, for the name was not yet revealed. That's awesome. This is the book here. Proverbs. One of my favorite exegetical scholars, Daniel L. Seagraves. This is the second book I bought because I lost the other book. I had the other one for like 15 years or something like that. But let's see when it was made. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 1992 it came out. Wow. And then it had updates from then on. Pretty awesome. It was made in 1992. The Son of God was made of a woman in the first century through the womb of Mary. God bless.